Live at noon, the time has come. After weeks of campaigning and months of protests, the Badger State at the center of the political universe today as Wisconsinites line up at the polls to cast their ballot for this historic recall election. Today's matchup between Governor Scott Walker and his challenger, Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett, has the nation watching Wisconsin. Both candidates voted early this morning in Milwaukee County. This is the first time ever in Wisconsin that there's been a recall election for governor. Many are calling this the second most important election in the nation this year, following the presidential election. If Governor Walker wins today, he will be the first governor ever to survive a recall election. Only two other governors in the nation have faced a recall. Both candidates will be out and about today meeting with voters. Governor Walker making stops in Green Bay and Wausau before ending the night with a campaign rally in Waukesha. We talked to him this morning as he voted in Wauwatosa.
I think most people are just be happy to have the election over. I think certainly for my family, but I think most voters in the state want to have all the attack ads off. They want to have their TVs back. They want to have their lives back. And I think for a lot of the folks that are in from outside of the state, they'll move on to Florida, they'll move on to Ohio, they'll move on to other states. And we can get back to business here. But more than just the headline, if we have the honor of serving in as governor, my hope is that tomorrow we can get back to work, roll up our sleeves, start working together across the state, across party lines, on how we can help particularly small businesses, family farms, and others grow in the state of Wisconsin.
Mayor Barrett staying closer to home with a stop in Racine before returning to Milwaukee to await tonight's results. The mayor cast his vote this morning at the French Immersion School.
What we've noted over the last 96 hours is around the state the energy has just been building and building and building, which we think is a very, very good sign. So we're excited. We're glad we got a chance to vote. At some point later in the day, both of our teenagers hopefully will be up and they'll be voting. So we're just glad to see so many people care about our democracy and care about the future of the state and want a governor who's going to work to represent the middle class of this state.
Turnout is expected to be huge today. The GAB says 65% of eligible voters will be heading out to the polls. Nick Montes spent the morning talking to voters and is live in Milwaukee with that part of our coverage. Good afternoon, Nick.
Good afternoon, Melissa. Yeah, people have been coming through here at Burnham Park. I'm told about 300 people have voted so far here, and you can see some of the poll workers busy at work getting things squared away. Now, we talked to supporters of both gubernatorial candidates. We've seen lines about the size you see during presidential elections. Some people, get this, even camping out right outside the polls. Now, like Dennis Bacol, now he started camping out at 1:30 this morning in front of the field house at Burnham Park. He says today is a very important day, and that's why he camped out. He wanted to be the first in line to vote. He says the recall election has divided the closest people to him.
I've lost friends
Over this?
Over this, yes, unfortunately. Family members, we fight.
Now, with voter turnout expected to be big, we found supporters of both Governor Walker and Mayor Tom Barrett. Some voters are using this as an educational tool by bringing their kids to the polling place.
I want him to see how it's done, and it's a great lesson in democracy. We can teach them about it in a book, but it's so much better to do it.
Now, back here, the GAB expects nearly 3 million people to take part in the recall election. More than 206,000 people took advantage of the early voting. That's about 3 times as many who voted absentee in the May primary. So again, a busy day here at Burnham Park. On your side in Milwaukee, Nick Montes for today's TMJ4.
And Nick, you've been out there all morning. Does it look like a steady flow of voters? Because right there, it didn't seem like too long of a line.
Yeah, there isn't actually. I'm told it's about not even a 5-minute wait. Depends on, though, like I said, how many people in line. They come in, takes about 5 minutes to vote, and then they're out the door. So not long at this location, at least. We were in Tosa, and there was a huge line where the governor was at. But it took probably the governor actually about 2 minutes to vote, and then he was out the door. And it seemed like people were following the same amount of time there. So it just depends on where you're at.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much, Nick, for joining us live. Some voter confusion at the Center Park Fieldhouse today. People showed up to vote at the corner of 65th and Center, only to find out the building is closed. A leaky roof shut things down 3 weeks prior to the February primary. Sue Edmond with the Milwaukee Election Commission says that she sent out polling cards to registered voters to remind them of the changes, but we still found confused voters.
I think it's very frustrating because when I voted this morning, the people who voted at Endress Park, the line was out the building and halfway down the playground, whereas I walked in and I came out within not even 5 minutes. So the participation for people out of these wards seems to be way down considering the magnitude of this election.
If you normally vote at Center Park Fieldhouse, your new polling place is at Endress Playground Fieldhouse located at 72nd and West Locust Streets. President Obama voiced his support for Mayor Tom Barrett via Twitter last night. He wrote, "It's Election Day in Wisconsin tomorrow, and I'm standing by Tom Barrett. He'd make an outstanding governor." However, President Obama did not campaign here in person for Barrett. A Waukesha County group is asking that the county clerk be banned from today's election process. The concerned citizens of Waukesha County want the county executive to file a restraining order against Kathy Nicholas or have a special agent observe the election. Nicholas created controversy after she made errors in last year's Supreme Court race. There are 5 other recall elections today. Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Clayfish is being challenged by Malin Mitchell. He's the president of the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin. The balance of power in the state Senate is also at stake. In Racine, there's a heated rematch between Senator Van Wangard and challenger John Lehman. Also in our area, Senator Scott Fitzgerald of Juneau is being challenged by Lori Compass. If Democrats win 1 of the 4 Senate races, they will take over the majority. State Senators Pam Galloway and Terry Moulton are also facing a recall. Galloway already stepped down earlier this year for family reasons. And here is another reminder about what you need to know for voting in today's recall election. The polls are open until 8 p.m. If you're in line at 8 o'clock, you will be allowed to vote. You do not need a photo ID. If you're registering today, remember to take a utility bill or something else that proves you've lived in Wisconsin for at least 28 days. For more information, check out our website, today'stmj4.com. Our Today's TMJ4 fan page lighting up with people weighing in on today's recall election. Dave Lacami says that he's voting since, quote, "It's about time someone with courage did the things to make this state right." Lauren wrote in saying she's voting because, quote, "just how this state turned into a civil war." You can still leave a comment on our Facebook page. And we will cover every angle of this historic day. Our special coverage begins tonight at 8 p.m. We will have up-to-the-minute results. Our reporters will be positioned throughout southeast Wisconsin with live interviews from the biggest names in politics, plus in-depth analysis from our political insiders. And we will stay on until we know the outcome of every race. We want to know, will today's recall election be a close one? Sound off by calling the number on your screen or email your comments to soundoff@today'stmj4.com.